Hello and welcome to another edition of the Blue and Gold Gridiron Show, where this week we're super excited to have the offensive coordinator at Poston Butte High School, Alec Horne, on the show. Coach Horne is at Perry High School, has had some collegiate stops as well, was at Mojave, number of different places, has a wealth of offensive expertise and knowledge in the coaching game, and these episodes are going to be in season, so hopefully everybody's season is going well. We're in the midst of season 2 of the Blue and Gold Gridiron Show, so we're going to not do as much talking, not going to be as much podcast style. We're going to get right into the meat and potatoes. So if you're listening to us on Spotify, Coach, try to give them a visual picture as well as you can at what you're describing. Those of you on YouTube will see everything and be good to roll there. But before we get started, just want to remind everybody that the Blue and Gold Gridiron Show is brought to you by School Funder. School Funder, the only online fundraising company in America that lets you keep all of the money your team raises minus the small 3% processing fee. We've used School Funder twice and been able to gain upwards of $12,000 in our lift-a-thon, and we kept almost all of that, like I said, minus the small 3% processing fee. You would never, ever, ever give away 20% of the wins your team earns, so why do you willingly give away 20% of their proceeds? Please contact School Funder. That's SCHOOLFUNDR.org, and let them know that the Blue and Gold Gridiron Show sent you, as it'll help the show. And as you're doing that, please, please, please make sure to like and subscribe to the show. Our only goal, it's completely free, our only goal of this show is to try to be a resource out there for coaches, try to give coaches as much free knowledge as they can possibly get their hands on. So please subscribe so it'll help the show reach more and more coaches. All right, so Coach, real quickly, because like I said, these are in season, and I know your time is short in season.
Oh, yeah.
All the coaches out there. So I'm going to ask you to give us a real quick synopsis of your football story, and then we're going to get right into the meat and potatoes of your presentation. So tell us a little bit about your football story, Coach.
All right, let's pull up just so everyone has some info. As far as what I'm looking to help teams do today, there are so many teams out there that are zone-type teams, zone read, RPO. What I want to bring to the table is how to add some simplistic gap scheme into your offense with some play action attached. Just to give you another look, we're getting to that point in the season where maybe you need a different flavor for some teams that you're playing. Maybe this will help. And as we get into that, I'll have some examples and things like that. As far as my coaching background goes, I've been coaching for 16 years, and I have been absolutely blessed to be around some absolute amazing coaches. So I played at Mesquite High School in Gilbert back in the day when Mesquite was one of the bigger schools in the state. I think my graduating class was like 850 kids, so we had a pretty big class. We were in the same region. It was the 5A Fiesta. It was Hamilton, Highland, Chandler, Basha. So a very, very competitive region at the time. My football story actually started when I was a sophomore. I was cut from the freshman team. This is back before they had A team and B team, and I'm not a big guy. I'd never played tackle football before. I just wanted to give it a try, and there was a coach at Mesquite, and his name is Nick Cornell, that had seen me in PE throughout my freshman year, and he said, you really need to come back to football and give it a chance, and I did. And then I played for 3 years, played some D-line, kind of a role player. Wasn't a guy that was going to go play college football. I did play college rugby for a few years at ASU. That was my sport. And a year into college, Campo Verde had opened up. So Campo Verde opened up to kind of fill the need for the population of Mesquite to drop down. And my offensive line coach, Coach Ragsdale, former head coach at AJ before that, really, really great O-line guy. Did a GA stop at ASU back in the 90s. He had opportunities for me to come over there at 19 years old and be a JV line coach and learn from him and learn from my coaches, guys like Brian Freeman, who's now the head coach at Campo, going back to Nick Cornell and plenty of other guys that had coached me in the past. So I got to stay there for 3 years while I was in college. We had 2 JV undefeated seasons. I got to see what building a program was like from the ground up. So for me, that was a great stop. And when I graduated college, I needed a teaching job. So I went back down the road. Our mutual connection, Coach Holmes, now the head coach that I coach under, we worked at the same summer camp my junior and senior year of high school. He was the sports director. I was running a youth camp group, and we stayed in contact. We stayed in touch, and he was able to offer me a varsity line job and a JV offensive coordinator head coaching job up at Mojave, and I decided to leave the Valley and take a chance for 2 years, and very blessed to have those opportunities very early on. And it turned into me also being the youngest head wrestling coach in the state of Arizona for 2 years as well. So I got a lot of great head coaching, administrative experience, coordinating experience. I got to run the weight room, different things like that. After 2 years, I wanted to come back down to the Valley, be closer to family again. I took a coaching job at Horizon, and this was the year Arizona kind of was experimenting with this idea of an open division. And the way that they did it is they picked teams right off the bat at the beginning of the season and said, you know what, these are the elite teams that are going to be in this open division. There are 17 of them. 16 will make the playoffs. 1 will be the odd man out. Well, unfortunately for us at Horizon, that year we played a highly competitive schedule with a young team. We were the odd team out. And the head coach moved on after that season. I needed somewhere to go. I went back to the East Valley through a friend of mine that I had gotten into teaching, just looking for a teaching job, wasn't really like reaching out for a coaching job. And he goes, I just got a job at Williamsfield. And it's a program that I had been very, very familiar with coaching at Campo. And I got a history job there, and I asked about football, and they had me meet with Steve Campbell. And that is really where, as far as X's and O's and development and game planning goes, Williamsfield is where I learned a lot. Coach Campbell is a football genius. And the O-line coach there was a guy named Andy Cook. So a lot of things that I do as far as game planning and scheme and stuff that I'm comfortable with comes from Williamsfield High School and Coach Campbell and Coach Andy Cook, because it's stuff that they've just had success with for years. Coach Campbell's opened the school. They don't lose a lot of football games over there. And I walked into a great situation coaching the running backs. I had been an O-line coach. I walk into a team that was completely loaded. The defense was stacked. We had 2,000-yard receivers, and we went 14-0 and beat Centennial in the 5A state championship. And the second year, we got bounced in the first round of the playoffs. In the third year, we made it to the semifinals, lost to a very, very good Notre Dame team with Brock Lochner and Jake Smith. And then I was looking for another teaching job, and I wanted to try something different, and the JUCOs shut down in Arizona, and I had gotten contacted by another Arizona legend. Like, I've just gotten very lucky. A guy by the name of Ryan Felker was in the JUCO game for a long time. Most currently was the Basha offensive coordinator, and he needed a running back coach. I spent 2 years with him, and I just absorbed as much knowledge as possible. I went from a pro-style offense at Williamsfield to a more air raid, no-huddle offense. So I got to learn a whole new process of things. we were an independent JUCO team, and we went undefeated for 2 years over there, and we were in the top 25 nationally, which speaks all to the kids in themselves. They bought into what we were doing, and we moved a lot of kids on to a lot of different levels. And because of that, myself and another coach over there were able to take a team that went defunct during COVID and hadn't won a game in 2019, and we got to go jumpstart the program at Salt River for a couple years. I started as the associate head coach, and by the time we hit the third year, the second game of the season, our offensive coordinator got a job at an NAIA school. So midweek, I took over the offense, and we played the Maricopa Mustangs, and they had Doug Madosky's their head coach. That's another college, high school legend out here. Great coach, knows scheme, hard-nosed. His kids play hard. And I'm very blessed to say that we had a great game, and we were able to pull it out against them. And we did some amazing things on offense that year. We averaged 411 yards per game. Some games it was running, some games it was passing. And while I was doing that, I was also coaching at Perry. And the way things worked over there, Coach Ortiz is another guy who's taken me under his wing with some different things as well. And he wanted me to be able to help him with a lot of the off the field stuff. These are things that I'm very good at. I'm a very planny type person. I like to have things done ahead of time and have the scenarios done in my head before we even get into the season. So I was teaching at Perry in 2021. He took on the head job in 2022. I joined his staff, and then in 2023 I was named the associate head coach. And last year was my last season there. I had the district changed me teaching jobs, so I decided that I was going to try to find something else. I want to become a head coach someday is my goal. And I needed to be an offensive coordinator at the high school level. I'd done it at the community college level for a few years, but and then this opportunity opened up. Coach Holmes, one of my longtime mentors and really great friends, he wanted me to come over and be his offensive coordinator. And ever since we were at Mojave, this has been like a 10-year conversation between us, and it finally has worked out. And I've been nothing but blessed and excited about what we're doing at Poston Butte. But I know that was like a long explanation, but I've been around so many great coaches and people that are considered like the upper echelon of high school and college coaching out here in Arizona. And I need people to know that I'm blessed. It's not that I just know this stuff. I had to learn from people, and it took time. It didn't happen overnight. I'm not the same coach I was when I was 19 years old that I am today.
Coach, I enjoyed the heck out of that. I had forgotten about Williamsfield. I was actually at Poston the year you guys you started at Williamsfield there in 2016, and I know you guys are going to do some great things for the Broncos, and I'm really excited to watch that progress and more excited to learn from you right now. So I'm going to shut up, and you can take us through your presentation, and if I have a question, I'll ask it, and we'll just kind of go from there.
You got it. So when we're looking at what we're going to look at today is some gap scheme stuff. So the way that I do things, and this is from Coach Campbell, when you have a series of run plays or a family of run plays, you need to have a rule. And if you're going to create a run play that doesn't fit within your rules, then you have to come up with a new rule. So you have, as a coach, you have to think about, do I need to add another rule? Do I need to add more responsibilities to the O-line, yes or no? Or can I make it fit within the rules we already have? So this is the most simplistic way to add gap scheme into your run plays. It's some of the first stuff that we installed at Williamsfield. It's the first stuff we installed at Poston Butte. And it's our counting rules. Okay? So I like to have a lingo, is what I call it. But what really where the lingo comes from is Coach Campbell. So counting rules, we're trying to kick somebody out, and everybody else is down blocking, and our backside linemen are basically scooping on the backside, stepping to the play. Nothing crosses your face. So what we have to do is we have to count. So we have to identify a 0. 0 is the guy that either the line is leaving for the lead back to replace, or if we're going to pull a guy, the puller is kicking him out. So that way the puller knows who it is. Okay? And there's times where that guy that we want to kick out, he could be in a position, if he's the D end, where he's inside of our tight end. Teams are going to mess around and bump people out. So we have a special call that we make, and you can make it whatever you want, pickle, bologna, whatever you want, to let the kick out guy know that if that guy is inside of the last guy on the line of scrimmage, whether it's the tight end or the tackle, because if we take our tight end and flex him out, it's going to be a little bit tighter of a gap. That lets that kick out guy know that he needs to go to the next guy over. We're not counting him as the 0. We're counting the next guy outside of him. So usually a second level defender, like a outside linebacker who's aligned in a contain type situation, is what we want to do there. So our plays and counting rules are kick, slide, and tackle trap. The nice part is this, and this is what I like about rules-based things, especially with counting rules. Those 3 plays are the same. It's just who's kicking out is different. So one of them, you're just a straight kick out. 2 of them, you have a puller with your running back replacing. So here's just some examples of that. Okay, so if we'll go left to right. So I know on your podcast in the past, you've talked about your 4 major fronts. I don't quite remember exactly what they are, but I'm similar in the same process. I draw every run play we have out of a 4-3, a 4-4, a 5-2, and a 3-3 stack. And
those are the 4: even split, even stack, odd split, odd stack. I think they all fit in somewhere in there.
Yeah, and you're not going to be able to account for everybody on every play. So what I do as far as game plan goes is I look at the formations that we have that other teams have ran to try to find how they're going to line up to us, and I start eliminating plays from my script on Saturday and Sunday. No, we can't run that. We're outnumbered to this side. No, we can't run that. We can't get our guy there in time. Those types of things. And then in certain situations, certain teams, if they want to play a special front or do things a different way, then we have to draw up our basic plays against that, which that takes a little bit more time on my part, but I enjoy the film part. I enjoy the responsibility of that. And then as a teacher, a classroom teacher for 13 years, I enjoy teaching the kids the game as well. So we do a lot of teaching over here, and the way that we put this stuff in is to maximize our reps. I use trash cans as my defense when we start, so we can have multiple huddles going and kids just learn how to move to their spots. And then once they're comfortable, then we start putting bodies with hand shields out there and get movement and things like that. I'm big on maximizing the reps. So just, this is our basic kick out play to the left. Hey, our guys are scooping on the back side, double the 1. Hey, find our double teams, find our kick out.
Coach, is that up there? Because I'm still on the counting rules page.
Oh, okay. Let me, that might be why. Yeah, let me share this new page. That could be, yes.
I love the way you talked about that, dealing with what I would call a 7 technique with the tight end, identifying 0. There we go. We're on huddle now.
Here we go. Perfect. Okay.
All right, awesome.
There it is. Okay, so I just the same play. All the fronts are there, and coaches, feel free to contact me. I'm not a guy that's gonna hide and hoard my playbook. Like my basic stuff, I'm more than happy to share out. I'm more than happy to talk you through your formations and your scheme and how you would do it, or help you find a way to do some of these things that fit you. I just like talking football and helping people out.
This is a little duo-esque here, this play.
It's very similar to duo. Like me and Coach Holmes, when it comes to duo, we're always like, is it duo or is it zone? And like that's our argument. And I'm like, well, our counting rule plays are duo plays with a kick out. Like we're not reading anybody. However, as we get to some other stuff, I do have some RPO stuff here, that just some basic examples for some guys that are live and die by the RPO. They have an athletic quarterback. I would say what we have at quarterback is very standard, stereotypical pro, 6'3" plus guy that can see over the line. So I'm not RPOing him as much as maybe another type of quarterback. So, and then we have it to the right. So this is kind of what I do. I just draw everything up, make sure the kids know it, and that's kind of how we install it. This is what I do in the classroom. I go through it with them. When we get on the field with those trash cans, I move the front around. I'll give them crazy fronts, and they have to talk through their rules. You always remind them, guys, what's our lingo on counting rules plays, and they should say down, kick out.
So, Coach, take me through that a little bit there with that last one, if you don't mind. We got
This one?
obviously in the red is 0, I'm assuming.
Yes. So
we would 0, and then walk me through the rest of their thought process a little bit.
Okay, so once we identify the 0, the next guy inside is 1. Okay, so in the 3-3 stack, it would be this end. So Y knows he's got a block down on the 1. Tackle knows he's 2. He's got 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, so on. So we just find the 0 and count in.
Love it. I've never seen it that way. That's really, really good stuff. I like that a lot.
And it just makes it real easy because, and I mean with the 3-3 stack, I'm big on when I see a 3-3 stack defense, I want to use the tight end as much as possible because I want to dictate, and I call this guy a defensive end, even though he is a linebacker, because he stands up and he drops in coverage. I want to dictate where that guy has to line up on these type of plays. So using a tight end allows me to do that, because if they just keep him out in space over here, we're gonna find ways to cross block or fold block and run ISOs and things at a linebacker just sitting back here. So we have other answers to the test that we can use as well besides these counting rules plays.
Well, Coach, that's one of the, we've been doing some 3-3 stuff and had some good success with it, but I think that's one of the more difficult aspects of it, is this guy you're talking about has to be able to play force and if you're going to spill stuff. Whereas a lot of the other positions are one or the other primarily. Your defensive line can always be spill guys. That guy has to be able to do both depending upon where he's aligned. And I think that's difficult. So I like what you're talking about there.
Yes, very, very, very difficult. I was a defensive guy when I started in the coaching world and when I played. I'm a 4-2, 4-3 guy. I like defense to be basic and let guys go fly around and make plays and see things. I'm not as big on the blitzing so much, not to get into too much defense, but I totally agree with you. These defensive end outside linebacker positions are tough, and at being at a bigger school, places like Perry and Williamsfield, you have those kids. When you're at a smaller school, so like some schools I think of, like maybe like a Pima or a Thatcher, you're not going to have those guys every year. So you have to kind of change what those guys do and who they are. And that makes it more fun for me as an offensive coach at the smaller school level, is because teams are doing different things every year. So you don't necessarily get the same look from the same team year after year.
Absolutely.
Okay, so that was kick. Slide is the exact same thing, except the only difference is we're pulling the backside guard to kick out, and the lead back is replacing the puller. That's our only difference. So we run this play the exact same way, and we count it the same way. We identify the 0, work in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
I'm digging the numbering system, Coach. I haven't done it that way, and I'm really enjoying learning something new here of how to do that. Can you show me that against a stack, if you don't mind?
Yeah. So we have it against all our fronts. So here it is against the stack. So once again, using that tight end helps dictate that outside linebacker. Right now, some teams you don't have a true tight end. At Poston Butte, I'm blessed to have a tight end who's about 6'2", 220, 225 pounds that can put his hand in the ground. Not everybody's going to have that. So some teams are going to have.
Not everybody at the 4A level, I can tell you. We have a couple good ones too, but that's not always the case.
So some teams are going to have to flex this guy out, and then that's where maybe some of the RPO type stuff comes in, where you're reading this guy instead of kicking him out. But we'll dive into that as well. So, but for me and what we have at Poston Butte, and who Poston Butte has been in the past with Coach Thompson and the wing T and pulling guards and gap scheme, a lot of what I'm bringing to the table kind of fits the mold and the culture of the program is the goal. We're just doing it in different ways. We're trying to find different ways to be a little more traditional, so when we do things in the passing game, we can be more traditional and have more options is our goal. So
Gotcha.
It's kind of trying to open up the offense a little bit more, but still be who we are, which is a run-first team.
Trying to keep your identity. I get it completely.
Yeah.
Little long trap action here. I like the way this looks here. Do you find teams, because I would think a lot of guys, that T there, a lot of people are going to treat that as a fullback. Do you find a lot of teams, when you have this cross-buck style action, struggle with that? Because those linebackers, as much as you tell them to read the guards, can get peeking in the backfield.
Yes and no. It depends on the team. So some teams now are reading the lead back, which is why I like this. Because if they're being coached to read the lead back, they're going to follow him, and the puller is going to kind of go unseen, and the backs are going the opposite way. And we have stuff where both the backs are going the same way too. So it's making things look different and being able to do different things out of different formations to be able to go to the left and the right. But to me, that falls more on the offensive coordinator with what we do, being a team that huddles up. That allows more processing time for me as a coordinator to make sure that we're in the right position based on what the other teams are doing. So I would say yes and no. It kind of depends on the team. But having block backs and replacing the puller it's just not something teams are seeing every week. It's kind of the best comparison I could give is like at the college level when Notre Dame goes and plays Army and Navy. They're only seeing that bone or the flex bone triple option one time a year, and they got to do all that work to get ready for it. Now they have the more talented pieces, but the preparation piece on their end is a little more difficult that week. That's part
100%,
of.
Coach. That is one of my favorite all-time Nick Saban rants when he talks about, I believe, Georgia Southern. They had their entire defense was NFL players. I think 5 of them went in the first round. They won the national championship, and they obviously beat Georgia Southern, but Georgia Southern rushed for like 280 or something, and he has an epic rant on that. So, coaches, if you haven't looked that up, it's good stuff. But completely agree with what you're saying there, Coach.
And that's part of just coaching in general is just knowing your kids, knowing what's going to work for them. And when I took this job, I knew that these 2 back, 1 tight end, pro-esque, I know not so much pro anymore, but like 80s, 90s pro-esque style plays and formations would be beneficial for the athletes that we have at Poston Butte. And the other thing that I like is in the passing game, it gets you some one-on-one matchups on the outside as well. So rhythm throws, quick game throws, there's things that I've taken from Coach Felker that I've molded into this two-back system as far as quick passing scheme goes as well. So it's just taking the different sprinkles from my mentors and people that I've coached with in their schemes and kind of bringing it all together and being able to do a little bit of this, a little bit of that, and creating your own spin on what other people have done. Like the biggest advice I could give to a young coordinator is go to clinics, learn from as many people as you can, learn as many different things as you can. Because if I would have just stayed in my hole at Campo Verde, all I would have known from back in those days was the flex bone triple option that we ran. And then I went with Coach Holmes. I learned some different offensive gap scheme. When I was at Williamsfield, I learned a lot of this. At Perry, I learned a lot of RPO, deep tight passing concepts, a lot of the stuff from Coach Zuby, because Ortiz was Coach Zuby's offensive coordinator at Higley. So I've just kind of going back to, I've been blessed to be around a lot of people that have been around a lot of good coaches themselves too. Let's jump into tackle trap. So this is another like long trap type play as well. And we're pulling the tackle here. So this one takes a little bit longer to develop. So there's things you do with your ball carrier here. We call it a pedal step. So he kind of takes 2 pedal steps like he's riding a bike backwards and lets that tackle clear him before he hits the hole. And it allows the hole to open up a little bit more, creates angles for our O-lineman. Coach, I know you want to see it out of the 3-3 stack, so let's do that. And we just count it. So our B is the 0. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And we just count it up. And we run it. So kick, slide, tackle, trap are all the same play. It's just a matter of who's pulling and who's kicking out and who's replacing. That's our counting rules right there in a nutshell, in how we do it.
All very similar on the play side. So you're giving your play side tons of reps at stuff they're going to do a lot of.
Yes.
So, cool way to think about that. I really enjoyed that, Coach. I think, did you have some play action for us?
I do, and I have some stuff, some scenario type stuff too. So let me pull that up as well, because I know there's people in here that are going to be in a situation where it's more they're a spread team. They have 4 wide receivers. They have 3 wide receivers that they like. So there's certain things in those scenarios that I've kind of come up with that I want to present for those coaches too, because I don't want this just to be, hey, this is what we do. I want coaches to have a way to be able to implement this with their teams as well, if it's something that they want. So you might not have the quote-unquote right players to line up in this traditional 2-back or pro gun, whatever you want to call it. Maybe your quarterback is a dual threat. I know, Coach, you had a dude last year back there, an absolute dude, and I know he could run the rock. You got a dual threat quarterback? Well, your running back can become your lead back, and you can use him as that. Well, Coach, I have one good running back, and he's not a great blocker. What do? I'm limited on running backs. Well, do you have a tight end or an H-type back that you can stick back there? Or can you mold a linebacker or an athletic D lineman or a 6th or 7th O lineman to become that lead back? And then that way you can do this stuff, and you just have to know your player. If it's an athletic D lineman, maybe you can hand him a fullback dive here every once in a while. If it's an O lineman, you're probably not going to hand him the ball, and he's just going to go kill crush. Okay? You want 2 route combos and RPO, stay in the 2-back formation and flex out your tight end. And then you can run RPO and route combos out of these formations. So that's kind of what I want to get into is showing some play action stuff that we do, and then some RPO stuff that we aren't doing this year based on the personnel that we have, but we have it ready to go if we have the quarterback to do it. So let's
love that, Coach. Given that scenarios, I think it's important, and we've talked to coaches about this, having your system be flexible enough where you're not changing offenses every year, but you can use your system to fit the skill set of your players.
Yes, and Huddle Playbook, I'm not like Huddle plug-in here or anything like that, but I think Huddle has the most simplistic, best playbook to prepare yourself ahead of time. So when I took this job in spring ball, my goal was to have all of our base offense into the playbook by the time we hit spring ball, and then just be able to sprinkle installs in to share with the kids. And that's what I got done. And now it's just, now I get to put the window dressing in there. I have a goal line playlist where I do different goal line plays, and I pick a couple each week. I have a shot play playlist where I see something on social media, or I see another team run a play and I'm like, oh, that was a great shot play. I'm going to put it in my shot playlist, and I can go through those plays each week, and we have a little different flavor. Each week we have a few plays that we don't run every week, and once we use them, we can lose them, and we can come up with more plays. So Huddle Playbook, I would say use it. I'm big on get it done before procrastinating, so that's another piece of advice I can give to young coordinators, is that as well. Let's jump into some of this. Oh, that is not what I wanted.
Well, I know I enjoyed watching you guys practice up here a little bit at camp. The bit I saw, I think the Broncos will be in good shape. And we had, like I said, I've been friends with Coach Holmes a long time, and I'm looking forward to watching your guys' continued progress here, and looking forward to seeing some of this play action stuff. And hopefully coaches out there, as you're watching this, are getting something out of this and taking some notes, and maybe this is a wrinkle you can add, because sometimes you get in the season and there's things that you can add that's a tweak to something you do that can maybe help you out, and that's our goal during season, obviously.
So here's some of the one back stuff. So this for us, this is like the way we would line up spread, and I call it T split because our T is usually back here. So I'm telling the T, you need to split your alignment, and then we have our players numbered. Our quarterback is number 1, our T is number 3, our J is actually number 2. And then our Z is number 4, because our Z is off the ball and we can motion him, we can bring him in the backfield, there's a lot we can do with him. So the way I have this designed is we can have 4 ball carriers but still be in spread type formations if we need to. So if you have that running quarterback, spreading an offense out is great, especially if they're a 4-man front and you can get even a 4-2 here because you're 6 on 7. You have a numbers advantage. So running the quarterback is not a bad option if you don't have the personnel. It's just making sure that you have somebody here that can block and get in the way. And if it's not a guy that can also carry the ball, there's other ways to do this as well. Okay, so like this guy right here, if you don't have that fullback blocking type second back, that's your athletic 6th or 7th offensive lineman. That's your athletic D lineman. That's your guy that maybe he's in between it being a tight end and a receiver. Find roles for guys on your team, and get creative. Not every team has the same DNA. You have to adjust to what you have. I'm a big believer in having a scheme, having rules, but adjusting to your players and what you have. So these are just some good examples of how to adjust if you don't have the ideal personnel. And there's a ton of ways to do this. You could even do this out of empty. You could you could line up your T here. You could be an empty, motion him across, kick out, and run your quarterback that way as well. So there's ways to do all of this stuff out of spread, out of two back with a flex receiver, so you can run your smash route concept here. You could run a curl out concept. You could run a quick out vertical concept here. You could run a spacing concept here, a dig go concept, and then you can pass pro everything too. The nice part is you can 7-man pass protect this. If your old line is a little bit on the smaller side, or you have a team that's constantly blitzing you, you are giving the illusion that you are a heavy run formation here, but you also have the ability to run your 2-man combos and take advantage of one-on-ones out here on the outside. And that's the goal.
Coach, your backfield action on this slide, take me through that a little bit on how the quarterback's getting the ball to the tailback.
So on this, he's going to turn directly to him.
Okay.
So he's just going to catch, turn, and hand off, because we're not in a play action situation here. We want to be quick and downhill, and that's the goal, is 4 to 5 yards a pop, and eventually we're going to break one. And the thing that I love about this formation here too, talking about dictating defense. The defense has to dictate, do they want to treat this like an I formation and stop the run, or do they want to add an extra guy out here to take care of the pass? Because if you don't want to add an extra guy out here, you have to go man across the board. So that's where you can take advantage of teams based on how they want to align to you. If they want to take the run, you can pass the ball. If they want to take the pass, run the ball on them. Use your formations to your advantage. Okay, then there's tackle trap. So like if I was running tackle trap single back like this, I would fake the read and ride here to give my tackle time to get across. I'd let the quarterback like read and ride it. Hey, you know you're pulling it, so just give a quick little flash, and then once that tackle clears, you pull it and go.
And just to get back to your numbering here, I'm assuming there on the play side, the left tackle would identify 0. He would have 1. Your guard would have 2. Center 3, and so forth down the line, or something similar to that?
Yes, exactly. I just with these kind of scenarios, I didn't put the front up there.
No, I was just trying to do it in my own head because I want to make
That's
sure
good.
I understand the counting system and all that.
That's what I do. Try to do with the players too. Sometimes I'll just draw. I'll tell them to draw a play, and I'll give them a front. I'll give them the formation, and I'll say, hey, give me a 4-3, give me a 3-3 stack. This is the play we want to run. Draw it up. You have to make your players students of the game, because it gives them more buy-in. They're more excited about it. It gets their minds thinking. And then there's times where I've had players like, Coach, could we do this? And a player has given me a great idea, and it's been something that we've implemented before. And there's nothing better for team morale and player morale than we get in a game and something that a kid came up with, we use in the game, and it's successful.
Well, they're going to be bought into that, I can assure you.
Yeah. So, and then with tackle trap, we can take, so normally our T is going to be to the same side as the Y. So when we go TO, or some people will call it toe, you take your tackle and you put him T over, tells him he's lining up on the weak side now, because it makes it easier for him to get to his block. And here's the other thing. You can run kick back to the weak side. You could run a quick pitch. You could run stretch here. So now you're stressing the defense. What are they going to do? Are they going to run their counting rules plays and replace the puller, or are they just going to kick us out quick here? Are they going to ISO? Are they going to stretch us? So it's making these guys back here think, like, what can they do to us? And the more they have to think back there of, oh crap, what can they do to us, the worse it is for them. Because if they're taught to read this guy, this backside tackle, we're going to run more kick. back this way. If they're taught to read the lead back, we're going to run more tackle trap this way because the flow of the play is going to take them that way. So it's whatever the defense wants to do or how they're treating us is how we make our play calls, and that takes a lot of time watching film. It takes a lot of preparation, and at the end of the day, that's the type of coach I am. Not every coach is like that. You have if you're not like that, that's all right. You have to create a system for your personality and who you are. You can't be. I can't be Coach Collette. You can't be Coach Horne. We have to be ourselves, and we have to take pieces of what everybody else does or come up with something new and just be ourselves and be our genuine selves. Hey, with the play action game, I like to basically have one type of pass concept off the play action, maybe two. So for us, kick, we like flood. And the way we do it is we just action to it. Quarterback is going to deep drop or roll out depending on if I make the roll call or not. And then we're just going to read flood. So we're going to fake kick. We're trying to get either that strong safety, if he's already rolled up, to stay rolled up and have to make a choice between the Y and the T. Now, if we get lucky and they want to press us here and we run by them, we're taking the shot. Tell my quarterbacks one-on-one, we have to take shots, because even if you don't hit the shot, maybe it's overthrown. Maybe it tips off his fingers. That defender and that defensive coordinator, the rest of the game is worried about, are they going to get by me? So even that threat or that illusion of they can get by us, they can hit us for the big play, that puts a defense on their toes and opens up stuff underneath as well.
Absolutely. We call those us or nobody throws. So even it's either a touchdown for us, but if it ends up incomplete, even exactly what you said, Coach, gives them something to think about.
Yeah, and we do it the other way too. We also can do this to where I don't really want to call it a naked boot because of the way that we do it, but it's kind of the way that I'm tagging it for my running backs so that they know the action is different for them. So that's how we would do action flood. Okay, so here's how we would do our slide action with a wide drag. So we want 26 slide here because we want the guard to be like our leader for that quarterback as we roll out. But I want the J to go the opposite way. This kind of ties into the linebackers and who are they going to read. If they flow to the back, we're going to have a lot of room out there and a lot of space. So when I say naked, that tells the J that he is play faking opposite of the play call, and the quarterback is naked, meaning that the back isn't there to help him. So we would go, in this case, pro left, action 26 slide. So even numbers tells the line we're going to the right, lets the backside guard know he's the puller. Naked lets the J know that he is play faking away from that, and our quarterback's going to open up away. He's going to roll naked, and we're looking for the tight end drag. And there's scenarios here where you could leak the T out if you wanted to as a secondary. There's times where I might tell the quarterback, hey, look at the post here based on the way that the coverage is rolling down, or look at the vertical as we go throughout the game, and we're watching the defense. But the idea here is to get these guys to bite up really hard and just leak our tight end on a quick little shallow drag and just get some quick yards, second and shorts, first and 10s, maybe even a third and short. With us being a heavy run team, you might get lucky and you might break one of these big, and we can do it to the left too. It's the same deal. So action 25, slide naked, wide drag.
Coach, you know what's interesting about that is you guys give your linemen the call, which is opposite of what I've seen in the past teams do. I kind of like that. That's a new thought there. You're telling your linemen, I'm assuming they're blocking similar to 25 on that, and then the backfield's working.
Yes.
Usually people do it the opposite way, so that's interesting.
And this is something that when you're talking about merging schemes and merging things that have been done in the past, this was a lot of this play action stuff and how we're communicating that was when I took the job at Poston Butte was me and Coach Holmes trying to find more ways to be more creative in the play action game and in our pass protections and to be able to do more things, but make it simple enough for the kids to understand. So a lot of the lingo is stuff that we've added in this year just at Poston Butte. We were a little more basic at Williamsfield with our play actions, and we didn't have to get too creative on our play actions over there. When I was there, we always had stud running backs in the backfield, and we were just blessed with kids that were bought in, coaches that were bought in. It was just a fine-tuned, oiled machine over there, like every piece from the top down up, and that's not how it is every single place. You don't always have kids that have played football their whole lives. You don't always necessarily have the booster club or the amount of coaches that these bigger programs have. So there's certain things you have to do different at other places to make yourself more competitive. And this was one of the things that we wanted to do to make ourselves more competitive and more diverse in the play action game is we added these tags. Like we have power action, we have ISO action, and we have different passes off of those too. So we have different route concepts based off of the action that we're doing in the backfield, and we try to keep it the same and limit it so that way the kids know, like, oh, if it's, for example, if it's slide action, we're running wide drag. If it's kick action, we're running flood. Keep it simple for them. Hey,
love it, Coach.
And then here's kind of one that I was fiddling with. I love Y cross, especially with the tight ends that I have, these big targets. I was mentioning the tight end that we have that can go hand in the ground. I have another tight end type who's more of like that flex out tight end. He's about 6'4" and 195 pounds. So he's a taller, lankier guy. So like things like this for him. I have a young sophomore as well who's a decent sized tight end already. So plays like this to get our Y into space, I think are huge. And what we're doing here is we're faking 25 tackle trap, and we're running Y cross. The nice part about this, I don't have to make the naked call here because the T's replacing the tackle, and the J's going to the action, and we're on a naked boot. So my hope on this is this outside linebacker sitting out here sees this guy pull and goes with it, and then we have this guy here. We could also have the T leak late. If nobody shows up, we can have the T leak late here, and we have two options there.
Yeah, I like the T leaking late there. That kind of makes that alley player in a bind, even if he does read it right.
Yeah, and then we also have on the back side, if we don't like what we have over here, and we see it pre-snap, we see this guy's really far off. It's 3rd and 6, 3rd and 7. We don't have to carry out our full roll. These are things that I talk with about the quarterback scenario and situation-wise. If we like the curl and it's the right situation, we can do a quick little fake and look back to the curl if we have a one-on-one opportunity out there. So these are things that you have to work with your quarterbacks on. And for me, this is my first year with the program. I'm with this quarterback for the first year. So as we continue to build this program, as we get into year 2 and year 3, those scenarios are going to become more prevalent with our quarterbacks as we go. And we're going to get better at knowing those scenarios. Right now, I have to be the teacher, and I have to teach those hard versus hopefully a year, 2 years, 3 years down the road, we have kids that are like, Coach, I like the curl right here. I'm going to the curl. As long as they have a justification as to why they did it, that's my thing. Make sure you have a reason why, not I just threw it to throw it. No, Coach, I liked the curl because that corner was 9 yards off and we only needed 6 yards. Things like that. Okay, there it is. There it is the other way. Okay, and then here's kind of some of the RPO type stuff. So these are front side. This particular play is a front side read. So this is a concept that I got from Coach Felker, the quick out concept. We're running an outside release with the Z, and he has to release outside because we're trying to create space here. The slot can run a speed out. It doesn't have to be like we get to 5 and then stick it. We want to get like 3 yards and start rounding it. So the quarterback is going to read the second level defender. He's going to turn to the play side and he's going to open up. And if this guy crashes, that ball's out of his hand quick to the Y. If that guy stays or it works back, you just run kick. Gotcha. You have to work with the quarterback and make sure that he can get the ball out of his hands quick enough to do these types of things. But these type of plays, these RPOs, they're quick, they're fast, they're easy. In this case, he's reading one guy. I think this is a very easy one to put in and install right away for those coaches that are trying to put some gap scheme in, but still have that RPO type decision making. This is a great one.
So I'm assuming your line's obviously blocking your kick play, and you're going to get that thing off quick. So, and you don't get a whole lot of man downfield penalties, but you will see it occasionally. But there's, am I correct in assuming they're still following their rules? They're identifying the 0, and they're going 1, 2, 3, and all that stuff.
Yes, because there's no word. The word that tells them that it's play action to stay back is action.
Okay.
So there's no action there, so they know we're going.
We're blocking 25 kick.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
And if the timing's off, so be it. It's football. It's going to happen. Different refs are going to interpret the game differently, and that's another thing is if you have refs that are like, well, your guys are 2 yards downfield when that ball comes out, like I'm throwing the flag, it's probably not a play that you can use that game. But if you have refs that are like not looking at that as much, this is a great play because there's a lot of interpretation there.
It doesn't get called a whole lot, and with the speed out timing, I think you're probably going to be fine in most instances. And a relatively easy. Now, walk me through a little bit of the quarterback, how he's getting that ball meshed with the running back and seeing the alley player as well. Footwork wise.
His footwork, he's just going to turn. He's going to turn and open up to where he feels comfortable throwing. And obviously going to the left, it's going to be a little bit harder for a right-handed quarterback. But what I teach them on this play is catch, grip, rip. So for the quarterback, if he sees that this guy is coming down hard, he's going to get out of his fake right away and throw that ball out there. I tell them on catch, grip, rip throws, you can't worry about the laces. You can't worry about like the ball angle and the placement as much. Catch, grip, rip means we need to get that ball out quick because that guy has space and he needs to take advantage of it. So depending on what hand your quarterback is makes it easier or harder. So like if you have a right-handed quarterback, going to the right side on a front side read is great. Absolutely, yeah. And that's what I like about this. It's quick, it's simple, it's easy. Right? Now we can do other things in the RPO game that involve maybe some opposite mesh that allow us to throw across our body that might make it easier for a quarterback. So I believe that that's this next example here. So we have a slide RPO here. So our quarterback is meshing to the arrow side, and our J is working across like a zone play. So we have that zone concept, but we're still blocking it like gap. And the quarterback's reading the end. So he's actually making 2 reads here. You don't have to have it that way, but I feel like if you have a running quarterback, you always want to give him the option to take off and be him. So we're going to read this end, and basically if he crashes down, we're pulling the ball. If he stays home, we're handing it off. And then we go to the second level read. So as our quarterback is working outside on the crash, if that backer comes up and wants to play him, you have this arrow route. Just dump it off to him. If that backer stays home, take your space. Right? And if you get caught, okay, or there's some situation where there's a scramble, well, your Y is sitting back here on a check down hook ready for you, waiting to go. And for us, our Ys being the big bodies that they are, they have that big catch radius. As long as we're not all the way out here and throwing it across our body, if we're coming out here, we see it late and he's open, we'll take the 5 yards. So this is one where it's good because your quarterback is opening opposite way of the run, so it could be easier for him to throw the ball in this one as well. It's just finding ways to make it quick and make it instant. You don't want to give the kids a lot of what if type deals. It's if this happens, do this. If that happens, do this. Limiting their options. And then if they're unsure, you always say if you're unsure, hand it off. That's 101. If you are unsure, just hand the ball off. We'll live to fight another down. So here it is the other way. Same deal, we're reading the end first. End crashes, we'll pull. We'll look to the backer. Backer crashes on the quarterback run. We'll dump to the arrow.
All good stuff there, Coach. You guys got some stuff in the holster ready when you get that guy that really is this is kind of made for. You guys are going to be dangerous there. And some great stuff in the play action game for the more pocket style. Like I said, I always like seeing guys' systems, how they evolve it to fit their personnel, and you guys have certainly kind of trying to word this correctly. You guys have certainly thought about all those scenarios in piecing together your system.
Yeah, I'm just one of those type of people. I don't want to say I'm a pessimist thinker, but I'm always like not so much even a what if thinker either. It's what happens when we have this situation? What happens when we have a running quarterback? Are we prepared? Do we have a plan? Do we know? Because we know how it's going to be in 4A this year. It's a 9-week grind, no buys. And then if you get in the playoff and you're one of those not top 8 teams, you're 9 through 24, you have a first round playoff game. And for us at Poston Butte, our schedule at the preseason, 8 of our 9 games are against teams in the top 25 for 4A. So that we knew our schedule was difficult. We know that there's always a chance that, for God forbid, injuries and things that happen throughout the season, the ebbs and flows, we wanted to be sure that we had a plan in place if things had to change at quarterback or personnel and things like that. So that's kind of where some of this stuff comes from. And then we also have a tackle trap one. Another really easy one-player read. We're running a stick concept. If that backer comes up, we're throwing the stick. If he stays home, we're handing off the tackle trap. Just keeping it easy, keeping it simple, and those are RPO scenarios. So I hope coaches, you were able to get something out of that. And like I said, if you need anything from me, or you want to talk shop, or you want to talk about how to mold this to your program, reach out to me on X or through email, and I'll be happy to help you out. So, Coach, really appreciate the opportunity to get on here. I had a lot of fun talking ball today.
Coach, I appreciate you more than you know, and I hope you guys are enjoying this. I hope all your seasons are going well, unless you played the Badgers But really, thank you so much for joining us, and definitely have you on the show again. I learned a lot today, and hopefully everybody out there did as well. Like I said, reach out to Coach, like and subscribe to the show, and we will see you next time for another edition of the Blue and Gold Gridiron Show.